Hey, you're alive. When I dragged you out of the river, I thought you were never gonna wake up. I checked your pockets for ID, a phone, maybe. I hope you don't mind. But all I found was some loose change. So, wanna tell me who you are? Well, it's nice to meet you. And I'm sorry to pry, but any idea why you were floating down the river? What's the last thing you remember? It does look like you took a pretty hard blow to the head. You're just lucky you've been given a second chance. Which is why I feel terrible for what I'm about to say, but I have a favor to ask. There are some ruins just behind you. Roman, I think. I need you to go in there and see if you can find a guy named Al for me. He went in there a few hours ago, and he hasn't come out. I've been freaking out, wondering if he's trapped or injured, or worse. I would have gone in after him, but he made me promise to stay here, no matter what. There's no way I'm leaving without him, so I'm just kind of stuck here, waiting. What I mean is, I was hoping you wouldn't mind going in there to find him. If you can do that, I can get both of you back to civilization in my boat. Please? Oh, of course. Sorry, I don't mean to be pushy, I just... What do you want to know? Oh, there's not much to tell. Feels like I've spent my whole life in a dead-end job with an endless commute. Know what I mean? Oh, I'd rather not say if it's all the same to you. All right, fine. Sorry if I sounded cagey, it's just that I don't always get the best reactions when I introduce myself. My name's Karen. Yeah, something like that. But right now, I have bigger problems, like finding Al. He's the guy who washed up on the riverbank not long before you did. I thought maybe you two knew each other. I guess not. But maybe the two of you can piece together what you're doing here. In any case, you'll like him, I'm sure. Once you find him, that is. You really don't remember? We're in Italy. This river is the Tiber. Not much, really. But imagine what you might find in there. Priceless ancient artifacts. Al... What am I, an idiot? You could hike a long, long way in any direction and never find another soul. Trust me. Great. So you're ready to go look for Al? My hero. The entrance is just past those columns behind you. Oh, and he left this here. But I think you'll need it more than I will.
If you're reading this, it means I've discovered the entrance to an ancient Roman city hidden deep underground. Its existence is long forgotten, all knowledge of it lost, except in the Latin inscription here. It reads, "You who wish to enter the city, step forth." And be judged. The virtuous shall be rewarded with eternal life in paradise. The wicked shall find themselves showered in gold, but in vain, for this shall be their final resting place. Could an underground city have remained a secret for all this time? Could people have survived down there, against the odds? It seems there's only one way to find out. If I'm not back in an hour, I'm somewhere on the other side. Consider this an invitation, or a warning. Al Worth. Whoever reads this, I'm sorry you had to find me like this. And worse, that you'll suffer the same fate I did. I've spent a lifetime in this place, going around and around in circles, searching for a way out. The inscription was right. There is no way back. And here there are only two options. Death, and that godforsaken doorway into the past. I made the mistake of stepping through it. I wanted to set things right. And I tried. I really tried. Whatever I did, it took me right back to the beginning. Don't make the same mistake. Better to end it all now, and find out what awaits you beyond that portal.
Salve, friend. I'm Galerius. Mind telling me who you are and what you were doing in the Shrine of Proserpina? Oh, is that right? Well, just make sure you don't get lost in any other sacred places you're not supposed to be. Can't have you disrespecting the gods by accident, can we now? But listen, most folks seem a bit confused when they get here, but you seem very lost, and in more ways than one. So let me make this nice and simple for you. Live by our law here, and we'll all get along just fine. Not laws, law. There's just one, the golden rule, and the punishment for breaking it's, well, it's kind of horrific. But our magistrate insists we take all newcomers to see him, so I guess I'll let him fill you in. So then, you coming? Follow me. When I first arrived, I couldn't believe there were people living down here. But, as you can see, we've got a nice little community now. Only 23 of us at the moment, if you count the 3 who are missing. No idea how, since nobody knows a way out. But it's just big and dark enough to get lost in, if you're not careful.
Aren't you going to introduce me to your handsome new friend, Galerius?
Keep it in your loincloth, Aurelia. I'm taking him to see the magistrate.
That pompous old bore won't be magistrate for much longer. Anyone who helps vote him out today drinks at my bar for free tonight.
Politics. I'd stay clear of it and her, if I were you. She's... it's not my place to say. Down on your right is our farm, where I grow all the food you'll ever want. As long as all you want is leek, cabbage, and wheat. Huh. That one usually gets a chuckle.
The bloodless shadows wander without flesh or bone.
Don't mind Livia. She means well. She's just been in a bad place since... Well, you know, I don't know what happened to her. Up here on your right is the chasm. If you've got a weapon, it belongs way down at the bottom. Up on your left is the forum, where you can visit the market or get yourself patched up in Lucretia's clinic in the Shrine of Apollo. Most of us have almost nothing, just what we had on us when we arrived, and what we've been able to make and scrounge up since. And this central plateau is where the magistrate and the other patricians live, so don't expect a warm welcome.
Hilarious. You're meant to be working the farm, not trudging dirt into the villas.
Take it easy, Horatius. I was just taking our new friend here to see the magistrate.
Well, he's asked me to escort the newcomer personally. The farm. Go. Now.
You better go with him. But just remember, they're not like you and me. Don't let them use you.
What was that? What did you just say?
I said it'll take some getting used to.
Yeah, I'm watching you, farm boy. Greetings, citizen. My name's Horatius. Magistrate Sentius asked me to escort you to him personally. Follow me, please. I expect the magistrate wants to brief you about the Golden Rule. It shouldn't take too long. He's busy preparing for the election later today. Follow me. The only thing you really need to understand right now is the Golden Rule. Let me see if I can explain it this way. When I was serving in the Legion, if there was a mutiny brewing in one cohort, the legate in charge wouldn't waste time finding the bad apples among hundreds. They just divided us into groups of 10, made us draw straws, and whoever drew the short straw had to be executed by the other 9. Didn't matter whether he'd done anything wrong. One of us in 10 would die for the crimes of the collective. We call it decimation. If that seems like rough justice to you, you're in for a rude shock. Because the Golden Rule is exactly 10 times worse. The magistrate can explain the rest. He's up these stairs.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
We're finally alone. I assume you already know who I am. May I know your name? A curious name to match a curious accent. But I digress. Now, you're probably wondering why I summoned you, and I'll get to that. But first, take a look at this wondrous place, would you? A secret city built deep in the mountains, many hundreds of years ago. Indeed. More importantly, consider the miraculous community we've built here over the last 7 months. 22 complete strangers brought together by the fates, living and working together in our own little paradise. And in all that time, not a single sin has been committed. No fights, no theft, nothing. Have you ever witnessed something so extraordinary as a city without sin? Well, I'm not sure I believe that. But the reason for this miracle is as simple as it is terrifying. If even one person commits a sin here, every last one of us will die. You see, the builders of this place, whoever they were, left inscriptions warning, "The many shall suffer for the sins of the one." From what we can gather, breaking the law here will anger the gods and provoke a terrible punishment. Like the curses of Medusa and Midas combined, turning us all to gold. We've come to call it the Golden Rule. It's extraordinary that we've survived as long as we have, and each day I grow more and more afraid that our time in the sun is almost up. And now it seems that day is finally here. All that matters is that somebody in this city is about to break the Golden Rule. Why else would Proserpina send you now? Unless you and I can stop them, our doom is assured. I know that's a lot to take in, and you look like you have questions. Please, ask away. An intelligent question. There was a good deal of debate about that in our first weeks here. Does it refer to crimes, or to some other ill-defined wrong? Of course, everyone agrees on the basics. No theft, no assault, and certainly no murder. But beyond that, it was more difficult to reach a consensus. What about lying, insulting someone, blasphemy, trespass, trying to escape, bribery, infidelity, suicide? As magistrate, I had to exercise leadership, and so I made a decision. We must uphold the laws of the Empire to a standard never before seen. And we must honor the peace of the gods, the sacred accord between the gods and the people of Rome. It is only by offering the gods the proper respect that we may prosper, as Rome has for centuries. Barbaric? Barbaric? What are you talking about? The Empire is the most civilizing force in the known world. Rome is a beacon of light in the darkness. For 800 years she has borne great statesmen, philosophers, poets, artists, and engineers. We have comprehensive laws protecting the rights of our citizens, which have unified countless warring tribes all across the Mediterranean and beyond, from Gallia to Judea. All our citizens are treated the same, regardless of the color of their skin or their sexual preference. Can you say the same? When our people are starving, they are given food rations, and when they are wronged, they have the right to bring the guilty party before the magistrate. Our laws forbid treason, murder, assault, and rape, as well as theft and arson, and so on. No other civilization in the world is so advanced, and you have the hubris to call us barbaric? On occasion, but our gladiators are almost all volunteers seeking glory, or condemned prisoners who would have been executed anyway. I do not see the harm. Of course, what else would we do with those prisoners of war who would otherwise have been executed? And besides, there are laws for their protection as well. Of course, but with fewer rights come fewer responsibilities, and the right to be protected by their fathers and husbands. You mean the blasphemous cult responsible for burning down half of Rome last year? It's hard to blame the people for being angry about that. Are you talking about our practice of decimation? Of course. We could hardly unite all these warring tribes without a disciplined, formidable legion. Well, right now, you're a long, long way from home. I have made my pronouncement on the subject. Unfortunately, there are still those here who resist, whispering blasphemous and treasonous lies in the shadows. I would be keeping a close eye on them if I were you. Well, I believe you're in the best position to go around asking people questions. You're new here, and it'll seem perfectly normal. As for me, well, it pains me to say my attempts to impose order have not earned me many friends. I fear I may not even remain magistrate after today's election. The people here would only treat my curiosity with suspicion. You shouldn't have that problem, though, unless, of course, you get off on the wrong foot. You mean you couldn't speak Latin before you arrived here? How strange. But the gods are active here, and their temples and shrines hum with power like nowhere else in the Empire. Perhaps when Proserpina brought you here, she planted the seed of Latin in your mind so that you could better serve her. An unbeliever, then? If you come up with a better explanation, I'll be interested to hear it. If I understand Proserpina's ritual correctly, that problem should take care of itself. Let me see if I can explain. If you manage to prevent the sin that breaks the Golden Rule, I won't need to bring you here. I won't create the portal, and you will never have been able to come here. Thus, you'll have created a paradox. If this occurs, you should be flung back to your own time, having changed the past for all of us. Make sense? Do you ever stare at a problem for so long that you can't see it for what it is anymore? What's needed here is a fresh pair of eyes. The less I prejudice the independence of your investigation, the better. What reason could you possibly have to suspect me, of all people? I'm glad you think so. Without trust, without each other, we won't be able to prevent what is about to happen. You see, in my search for a way to save my people, I learned of an ancient ritual to Proserpina, the goddess of the cycle of life and renewal. It's said to open a doorway in time, so that if the unthinkable happens, one person can pass through it and travel back to the past. And when I saw you arrive in a flash of light from the goddess's shrine, I knew that person was you. You don't belong in our time, do you? A pointless lie. Please tell me, in your time, what did you see? What had become of us, of this city? Lie all you want, but I see the truth in your eyes. Ah, good. So, are you with me? Can I count on you to figure out who's about to break the Golden Rule? Wonderful. Now, I need you to investigate the city, talk to everyone, help them if it'll win their trust. I authorize you to enter private homes and inspect possessions and documents, unless, of course, you're asked to leave. Figure out who the culprit is, and as soon as you have a name, come back and tell me immediately. Oh, and one last thing. If I were you, I'd start my investigation by visiting Lucretia at the Shrine of Apollo in the Forum. I heard wailing from there not long ago. Seems like something's not right.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
You idiots do!
The statues, they're alive!
Salve, friend. I'm Galerius. Mind telling me who you are and what you were doing in the Shrine of Proserpina? I don't think so. I've never seen you before in my life. Oh, I guess how much did I drink last night? Sorry to have bothered you. Oh, and since you seem to be in a hurry, you should try out this device I made. Worked real hard on it. Just attach the pulley to the rope over the lake and hang on to the handles. If it works, it'll be faster than walking. And if it doesn't work, worst thing that can happen is you'll take a swim in the lake. I haven't quite summoned the courage to test it myself. But don't worry, it's completely safe. Probably. All right, see you around.
What are you doing in here? Can't you see this woman is dying? She's been poisoned. She needs the resin of a plant called Silphium, but that Culus cubulatus Decius won't give it to me. It's too late. She just slipped away. No, now it's fine. I can't afford to wallow here, and I need the distraction. What's on your mind? I wish. Some people here need proper medical care, not the half-baked, hanging by a thread excuse for treatment I'm giving them. Just don't get sick or injured here. I'll do my best to treat you, but I'm out of my depth and dangerously short on everything you can imagine. A city without sin might sound good on paper, but whoever dreamt it up didn't think it through. Maybe it was an attempt to create some kind of utopia. But snakes like Decius will always find loopholes to exploit. And what can we do about it? Absolutely nothing. In some ways, we are worse off because we can't take the law into our own hands. Sure. What do you want to know? Do you really want to know? I mean, if somebody poisoned her, then surely they would have broken the golden rule, and so maybe it's best we don't discuss it. Hemlock, I believe. I haven't seen her in months. She's not allowed to leave Malleolas's villa, and they are quite secretive. Gladly. She was poisoned. She came in here frothing at the mouth. Normally I'd treat her with resin of Silphium, a rare plant which is perfect for this sort of thing. And I knew Decius had some at his market stall, right around the corner. So I ran over there, but he just looks at me with this evil smile and says, "That'll be 1,000 denarii." There was no way I could afford that, and he knew it. Then that toad shrugs and says, "Supply and demand. I guess you don't value your friend's life that highly." Anywhere else, I'd just pay a thug to steal it from his stall. But there's no way I can do that down here with the golden rule. So all I could do is come back here and just watch her die. I kept on apologizing. And now I'll never know who poisoned her, or how they managed to do it without breaking the golden rule, or why she cursed that snake's cruel black eyes with her dying breath. Well, unless you have the power to bring someone back from the dead, there's really just one thing you can do. Get me that Silphium resin. I'm going to have another patient in here soon. Could be in the next day, or in the next hour. and I will not allow this to happen again. I don't care how you get it, but you have to make it happen, because if I lose another patient this way, I swear to the gods below, not even the golden rule will stop me from marching up to that Genetricum Fututo and scratching his eyes out. Then you'd better get me that Silphium quickly, hadn't you?
How'd you do?
Salve, stranger, and welcome to our idyllic little slice of the Empire. I'm Dacius. Terrible shame what happened to Yulia, but we just have to carry on, don't we? Certainly. All I ask is a reasonable price of 1,000 denarii. That's hardly my concern. But if you get a job, work hard and save your coins, you should be able to afford it within, say, 5 years? Very well. Perhaps I can interest you in something within your budget? Malleolus. I mean, Sentius couldn't even keep his daughter safe. What hope does he have of protecting us? Certainly. It's terrible for inflation is what it is. There's so much gold just lying around, it's practically worthless. At least down here. Of course, I have an idea for generating real wealth, but what I need is a bow. Just a simple composite bow. I've scoured this city from top to bottom with no luck. But if you happen to find one, bring it to me and we'll talk. Oh, well, technically yes, but that just means you'll need to be a little discreet. Thank you, friend. I'm afraid not. If you're desperate, I did hear that Aurelia down at the tavern claims to know of a way out, but I'm not sure I trust her. Some people here are a little shady for my liking. Oh yeah, gotta watch out. Old Dacius has got your back though. You mean how did I end up here? That is a lengthy tale. All right. Well, you see, I'm in the business of procuring rare and precious objects liberated from the enemies of Rome. Mostly sculptures, vases, the occasional slave, fetch a magnificent price in Roman high society. Had myself a nice little shop in Rome just off the Forum. Lots of foot traffic and close to the docks. Good place to be when the fires broke out. See, about 7 months ago, half of Rome caught on fire. Everyone who couldn't get to an outer gate was running for the river, hoping to escape by barge. So I gathered my coins and some priceless vases into a cart and had my most loyal slave girl, pretty young thing named Acantha, push it for me. All the way down to the river, I'm elbowing for a stampede of people, turning back now and then to make sure she hasn't legged it with my valuables. But, to my surprise, we make it, and I see this barge loading up, and it's so full it's almost sinking. But the captain's happy to take my coin, so I start boarding, and then he puts his hand on my chest and he says, "No, too heavy. The cart or the girl." So I did what anyone would have done. Of course I chose the cart. I mean, I can always buy a new slave girl if I still have my money. So I put my hand on the cart, and I guess she realised what was happening because those pretty black eyes of hers go all wide. And in one swift motion, she topples the whole bloody thing into the tyre. naturally, I dived in after it, hoping to salvage my fortune. Only, I guess I must have hit my head or something, because everything went black. When I came to, I'd washed up on the riverbank not far from here, with nothing in the world but a single silver coin. I couldn't agree more. I mean, sure, I'd lost a few thousand denarii, but I've already made it back, and this place is a veritable treasure trove. Look around you. There must be more gold in here than in the treasury of Rome. If I can just figure out how to get it out of here. Very well. Another time.
They're turning us to...
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Everybody run!
Salve, friend. I'm Galerius. Mind telling me who you are and what you were doing in the Shrine of Proserpina? No idea what you're talking about. Oh, wait. Are you a bit, not right in the head? That's all right, friend. Everyone's welcome here. But listen, most folks seem a bit confused when they get here, but you seem very lost, and in more ways, live by... All right, friend, suit yourself. Just don't do anything.
What are you doing in here? Can't you see this woman is dying? She's been poisoned. She needs the resin of a plant called Sylvia. What? Quick, give it here. Yulia, you need to swallow this. Here, let me help you. Hopefully, in a moment, she should be able to breathe. That was extraordinary. How did you know she needed this exact thing, and at this exact moment? Are you some kind of oracle? A what? I'm sorry, I must have misheard you. I think it's your accent, because it sounded like you said, time traveler. But whatever kind of traveler you are, that was like the gods hearing my prayers and intervening. You just saved a person's life, and you should be proud of yourself. She might even be able to thank you herself in a few moments. And maybe she can tell us who poisoned her, and who she meant when she was muttering about that snake's cruel black eyes. In the meantime, I'm happy to help you with whatever it is you need. Oh no, sorry. I don't mean to worry you, but no, that is definitely not normal. There was one other person who claimed she could hear the statues talking to her. But that was Nevia, and she went a little mad. Well, she used to run the clinic. She was a midwife, not a physician, but she was the closest thing we had down here. And she was good, too. until she suddenly lost all interest in us. One day she told me she'd made some profound discovery about the golden statues. "This changes everything," she kept saying, but I had no idea what she was talking about. The last time I saw her, the last time any of us saw her, she was muttering to the statues, like she could talk to them. And then she shut herself in the palace, barred the door from the inside, and nobody's seen her since. She's been gone so long now, we figure she's either dead or up to something so strange that she doesn't want anyone else to know about it. But I really wish I could reach her, because that's the only hope I have of solving a troubling problem, a real thorn in the paw situation. One of my patients is suffering from terrible rheumatism. His joints are inflamed and he's in constant pain. I really shouldn't say. He wouldn't like it. And he's a little bit scary. He's become so irritable that the smallest things set him off. And I worry he'll end up losing his temper and lashing out. And you know what that means. I just know Nevia would know how to treat him, assuming she's still alive. But nobody seems to know how to get into the palace. Thanks, I suppose. That's a shame. Thanks again for saving Yulia's life. Apollo smiles upon you.
Be careful who you trust. Oh, it's you. Sorry, I'm still a bit out of it. But thanks for trying to help me, I suppose. Was there something you wanted? Lucretia says I'm supposed to rest. As much as I'm grateful that you tried to help me, it's just not safe for me to talk about it. Please, no more questions. The Golden Rule. That's the least of my worries. The gods may be cruel, but Malleolus and Claudia are far crueler. Please, just leave me alone. I don't want to talk about it. Persistent as Nemesis, aren't you? I can tell you, but it's a long saga. All right. I'd been here about a week when it dawned on me I'd be trapped here for the rest of my life. I could hardly breathe, and I knew I had to get out somehow. So when my new friend Aurelia offered me a secret way out, I would have done anything. And then I learned her asking price. 1,000 denarii. She was supposed to be my friend. I told her it would take me years to save up that much. So she suggested I take out a loan from Malleolus. And I did. I had to sign an agreement, saying I'd work off the debt over 30 years. But I figured I'd be out of here so soon it wouldn't matter. I paid Aurelia, and she gave me her so-called way out. Do you want to know what it was? Hemlock. It's a deadly poison made from a plant. Drink this, she said, and you'll be out of here in no time. Of course, I demanded my money back, but she refused. She pointed to a sign on her tavern saying, "Let the buyer beware." Then she just looked at me with those cruel black eyes and she laughed. She immediately told Malleolus I'd tried to escape without paying him back. Only, he didn't seem upset or surprised at all. In fact, he just thanked her. And that's when I realized the two of them had planned the whole thing from the beginning. That's what I said to the magistrate. I went to Sentius and begged for help, but he said the law was clear. I'd signed over my labor for 30 years and there was nothing he could do. I thought about resisting too. But Malleolus said if I didn't submit, I'd break the Golden Rule. And I couldn't be responsible for all those deaths, so he locked me in his villa. Confiscated everything I owned as collateral, and made me wear immodest, humiliating outfits while I worked day in, day out. His wife Claudia was just as bad. She sent me to work on an endless stream of futile, demeaning tasks. I'd be on my hands and knees, scrubbing the floor clean for hours, only for her to pour slop on it and hiss, "You missed a spot." Those two took everything from me. But they forgot to confiscate one thing. My hemlock. I just wanted it to be over. But it seems I messed that up too. Should have drunk all of it. Don't you think I know that? I brought it on myself. I trusted one of the most callous human beings I've ever met, and tried to swindle the other. I don't know how I could have been so stupid. When I've recovered, I expect their thug Domitius will come for me. He'll escort me back to their villa, and I'll be right back where I started. Only this time, I won't be able to lull myself to sleep at night with the thought of a permanent solution. Honestly, it would have been better if the poison had been allowed to run its course. I doubt it. It seems this is the fate the gods have chosen for me, for trying to escape. At least until someone breaks the Golden Rule. Huh. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad. No, of course not. I would never. But I can dream. A lot. But it doesn't matter. I made a suicide pact with Ulpius last night. He's in exactly the same position as I am. Malleolus and Aurelius set the same trap for him a month after they did it to me. He and I are in this together. He's probably already thrown himself from the bluff into Malleolus's villa by now. If so, I'd never be able to live with myself, knowing I broke my promise to him. I doubt you could make it up to the bluff in time. I don't know who you are, or why you seem so determined to help me, but thank you. All right, but please don't take too long. All right. Thank you again for saving my life.
May Apollo keep you safe.
Name's Rufius. Better watch your step. Whatever.
Feeling all right? That... Apollo keep you safe.
Hey, Virgil, how much would you want to make me a bow?
For the last time, Dacius, I'm not making you a bow.
But why?
You know why.
But how am I going to defend myself against someone else with a weapon?
There are no other weapons in the city. We all went along with the magistrate's weapons ban, so it won't be an issue.
That's why I've got to get in first before someone else beats me to it. I'm guessing that Promethean fire's not for sale. Salve, stranger, and welcome to our... Very well.
Help! You have to do something! A man arrived in the baths. A real nasty sort, with his face all covered up. And he's got a weapon. You have to do something, or he's gonna break the golden rule. None of us do. The magistrate made us throw them all into the chasm. So now this man's bow is the only one in the city. You'll just have to improvise. Are you daft or just callous? If you don't stop him, we're all going to die. Ugh. The shrine is collapsing!
Fabia, no! Oh gods, she's dead! Did anyone see that? The whole shrine just collapsed on her! Oh Fabia, why did you have to go in there? Poor sweet girl! I can't believe she is dead. Fabia, I mean. She walked into that empty shrine, and the next moment she is lying dead under a pile of rubble. The gods are cruel and unjust. She was like a daughter to me. I'm sorry, friend. It's not right for me to lay my burden upon you. I can't believe she is the god.
visitor. Welcome, welcome. May I ask your name? It's a sincere pleasure to meet you. Tell me, what brings you all the way down here? Then perhaps the fates brought you here to learn the secrets of this place. I will tell you everything I know, but first, a request. I have been living down here alone for many years, with nobody to talk to but myself. The one thing I long for above all else before I die is a good philosophical argument with somebody astute. I'm hoping that person is you. Let us find out with this simple question. Have you deduced the name of the god responsible for the Golden Rule? You have much to learn. It's best if you figure it out on your own. Come back once you've made progress. Then you should speak with your contemporaries in the city above. Ask them about their stories and see if you detect a pattern of some sort. It is best if you come to this realization for yourself. You would never believe me if I told you.
Stop right there. I'm looking for Tiberius Quinctius Crispus, otherwise known as Quinctius. Do you know where he is? I'm not sure I believe that, so allow me to explain something to you. I am here with orders from Emperor Nero himself to find and execute the cultist Quinctius for terrible crimes against the Empire. So, if you tell me the truth, I will allow you to live. But if you lie to me or otherwise obstruct the Emperor's business in any way, I will put this arrow through your chest. Is that understood? You are not off to a good start. When I ask you a question, I expect an answer. Is that understood? Thank you. Now tell me, who are you people, and what is this place? Oh, how very welcoming of you. You want me to let my guard down, is that it? You're not going to get your claws into me. I was told Quinctius was a cultist, but I never thought he'd be foolish enough to lead me right to the heart of his mystery cult. Oh, don't play coy with me. I don't care if you're worshipping Bacchus, Magna Mater, or Christ. You lot are all the same to me. Always sneaking off to your secret sanctuaries, indoctrinating each other with your little mantras. The Emperor may have tolerated your activities up until now, but after what Quinctius did, those days are numbered. You say that, but if you're not a cult, then why go to such great lengths to keep this place a secret? So you admit you're not allowed to leave. That sounds an awful lot like a cult to me. And I saw the inscription saying, "The many shall suffer for the sins of the one." I take it this is some kind of mantra you all believe? Another lie. So you really do believe that? Fascinating. You've clearly been indoctrinated into this nonsense. Now tell me,
Where did you lot get enough gold to make all these statues? You lot are practicing human sacrifice too. You people disgust me. Yes, because I'm the real villain here. It's all clear to me now. The secret sanctuary, the indoctrination, the mantra, the human sacrifice. You're cultists, there's no doubt in my mind. What baffles me is how a person can believe in something with such zeal. They just can't see what they've become. However, you still have a chance to redeem yourself by telling me where Quintius is. Do not waste it. Then you're of no use to me. Do you have any last words? As a matter of fact, I do. Once I'm done with you and Quintius, I intend to kill every last one of you wretched degenerates. And I can think of nothing I'd enjoy more.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Sup? Oh, sounds serious. I'm listening. Yulia? Oh no. All right, I can do that. I'll go, but once I'm done, I'll need you to tell me how you know all of this. Don't you just love springtime? Salve again, friend. I went and did as you asked, and it worked. How is it possible that you've just arrived here and you already know everyone and exactly what's about to happen to them? You're toying with me, right? Wait, you're not kidding, are you? That's the only way you could have known. You're a bit like... Oh, what was his name? Sisyphus. Yeah, that's the one. Old King Sisyphus. Sisyphus was a Greek king a long time ago. For daring to think he could outsmart the gods, he was given a terrible punishment. He was forced to push a great boulder up to the top of a hill. Only, just as it reached the top, it would roll all the way back down to the bottom, forcing him to start over and over and over again, for all eternity. Just like you. Actually, now that I think about it, there are a bunch of old stories about the gods punishing people by making them do the same futile task over and over. Tantalus was made to grasp at fruit on a tree he could never quite reach. The Pleiades had to keep fetching water in a sieve. Oh, and Ixion was strapped to a wheel going round and round forever. But on the bright side, at least you're not stuck in the underworld like they all were. Anyway, I don't know which god you managed to upset to get yourself into this position, friend, but you seem all right to me. So, I'll tell you what. I'll keep doing whatever I can to help you. You just focus on finding a way to break the cycle you're in. Anytime, friend. Now, I'm going to keep your secret. Although, it's not as if I'll remember this next time we talk anyway, right? Oh, and if our conversations ever start to annoy you, just tell me you're busy. I know when I'm not wanted. May fortune smile on you, friend.
Salve, friend. I'm Octavia. Welcome to life under the Golden Rule. It's a ghastly thing, is it not? How are you faring so far? Ah, another stoic, perhaps. We all need something to help us through times like these. We've all been where you are now. I remember when I first arrived. I used to lay awake at night contemplating the big questions. Why am I here? Is there a way out? What is the Golden Rule, and who or what is responsible for it? I still don't have any of the answers, I'm afraid. I don't think anybody does. But I'm happy to share with you what I've learned. Here, in this place, the magistrate has me earning my keep by cleaning and pruning the gardens. It's not quite how I expected my life to go. I used to live in a lovely villa on the banks of the Tiber. I was even betrothed to a handsome young man from a prominent family. But long hours of menial labor for the good of the community has its own charms too, I suppose. Oh, much the same way as many of the others. When the fires came to Rome 7 months ago, my family and I fled for the Tiber, hoping to escape on a barge. We were among the fortunate ones with enough coins for passage, but unfortunately, there were a lot of desperate people, and they boarded before we could depart. A scuffle broke out, and I was pushed overboard. The last thing I remember was the water, rising up to hit my cheekbone. I woke up by the river, near that shrine, and stumbled across this place. Oh, that's all right. I'm sure it's all part of God's plan for me. Oh yes, of course. A slip of the tongue. If you like. I'm afraid not. Although, I did once hear someone gossiping down at Aurelia's tavern about a possible way out. I don't put a lot of stock in such rumors, but if you're desperate and wealthy, you could look into it, I suppose. If that doesn't work, then I suppose we're all stuck here until the gods decide our fate. Oh, I see. Well, that doesn't surprise me. I'm sorry I even suggested it. I won't make that mistake again. The many shall suffer for the sins of the one. I think about those words a lot. I'd like to think that if we all love our neighbours as ourselves and do to them as we'd have them do to us, then we'll all be fine. But on the other hand, I was always taught the intent of man's heart is evil from his youth, and that all of us are born with a tendency towards sin. And that's where I get stuck. Is it true? Are we born with a tendency towards sin? You don't think that's a little naive? I suppose you've never seen what I've seen. Innocent men and women, torn apart in arenas while thousands of Romans look on and cheer. I wish I shared your faith. Please keep that to yourself. I know you're not from around here, but things are very difficult for us right now. There was a terrible fire in Rome last year, and our emperor decided to make us his scapegoats. There were executions. It was horrible. Oh, thank you. You have no idea how much I appreciate that. All right, well, it was lovely to meet you. I look forward to getting to know you better over the coming months. And if you ever...
I can't believe this is how it ends.
Oh no. No. Ulpius, what are you doing? Get back from there. If you lose your balance, you'll fall.
That's the idea.
What? Why? Why would you want that?
Why do you think I'm stuck for the rest of my life working for a man who treats me like an animal?
I know things are hard for you right now. They're hard for all of us. We're all in this together, Ulpius. Please just think this through. If you do this, it could be the sin that seals all of our fates. Is that what you want?
I'm sorry, but I just don't care anymore.
Please, Ulpius. Help him. If he goes through with it, it could be the end for us all. I don't know what to do. I've never had to deal with this sort of thing. Please, you need to talk to him.
I don't know, but it's a crime for slaves to take their own lives. And a debt bondsman isn't far off. Thank you. And please, choose your words carefully.
I am out. Wherever you are. Scintilla, my love. I'm sorry.
Ulpius, no! I can't believe he went through with it. Oh Lord. That poor lamb. Well, I suppose it means suicide isn't a sin under the Golden Rule. So I guess that means whichever god is responsible for it. It isn't mine. That was not your fault. There's no way you could have given him what he wanted, moments after you arrived. I'll have to let everyone know what happened. And I guess Malleolus will have to clean up the mess in his villa. It's of his own making, after all. And I'd best pray for poor Ulpius. I hope you're coping. Oh, so soon?
Thank you. Thank you. I am delighted and deeply honored to have been elected your magistrate. Yes, yes. Thank you. I am delighted and deeply honored to be elected your magistrate. And now... And deeply honored to have been elected your magistrate. Yes. Thank you. I'm delighted and deeply honored. I make this solemn promise to you, good citizens. Under my leadership, you will finally enjoy the freedom you deserve. And, yes, no more shall you walk on eggshells, yes. No more shall you walk on eggshells, fearing simply to live and breathe, because the tyrant Sentius told you it was forbidden. Yes. My first act, yes, I hereby announce the day of hereby announce a day of celebration to mark the end of an era.
Did you just leap into my villa from the balcony 100 feet above? That was either extremely reckless or impressively clever. Well, why have you risked life and limb to see me? I'm Malleolus, and if it wasn't for this interruption, I'd be practicing my victory speech for the election later today. I'm glad you asked. I'll finally restore freedom to this city, just as I've been promising. These good people have suffered long enough under Sentius's tyranny. By declaring there's no such thing as the Golden Rule, It's a children's fable exploited by Sentius to frighten us into submission. Wait, don't tell me you've fallen victim to that monstrous lie? Nonsense! There's no way you can prove that. If it was real and you'd seen someone break it, then you'd be dead already. What? Oh, I see what's happening here. Another poor, vulnerable soul taken in by Sentius's machinations. He won't get away with this much longer. Surely, you're not one of those people who believes everything you read, as if a lie could be transformed into the truth by the simple act of writing it down? I disagree. I'll be guided by what is best for the city's people, and that means giving them the freedom to do as they wish. True, but that is simply because you are mistaken. I'm afraid not. We're stuck down here together, for better or worse. We're all going to have to make the best of it. You mean the children's fable exploited by Sentius to scare us all into doing what he wants? I trust you can see yourself out. Through the door this time? There's a key just beside it. Still here.
What now? The name's Domitius. You want to get to Malleolus? You go through me. Why? Because I am a gladiator. That's why. You want to see me fight? Keep running your mouth, fatuous cunners. When Malleolus wins the election, yeah? This place will change. You won't even want to leave. You'll see. I think it's gone on long enough, and Malleolus is going to put an end to it once he's elected. We've already lined up the votes he needs to win. Just stay out of our way, and we won't have a problem. Malleolus, of course. If old man Sentius can't even protect his own daughter, how can we trust him to protect us? Whatever. Just remember, I'll be watching.
Are they? We're finally alone. I assume you already know who I am. May I know your name? We have? Wait, if I understand correctly, someone is about to break the Golden Rule, forcing me to create a portal in time to bring you here? I must have entrusted you with figuring out who the culprit is. Only, I assume we failed, and you had to start over. Is that about right? If so, what happened? You broke it. Why in Pluto's name would you do that? You just wanted... What is wrong with you? Do you fancy yourself as mortar, holding the threads of our fate in your hands? Look, it's unfortunate, but all that matters now is that you make use of what you've learned and gathered and do better next time. Now, I assume you sought me out again for a reason? Of course. What is it? Why then did you say, it looks like you'll have to continue? Ask then. All I can tell you is that it's a ritual sacrifice to Proserpina. I stumbled across instructions. I have to recite a prayer, and of course, as with all rituals, some sacrifice is involved. Usually that means wine or food, or in some cases a live animal. In this case, the sacrifice is rather more costly. The life of the person performing the ritual. I don't suppose you saw any sign of me in the future? I assume that was me. If I'm forced to perform the ritual, it's going to cost me everything. You'll try to make sure I don't need to use it, won't you? Well, thank you for your candor, I suppose. Good. Now, Sextus Sentius Imperiosus is my name, though magistrate is the proper way to address me. Before I wound up here, I was a decurion in the cavalry of Imperial Rome, helping protect civilization from the barbarians. It's a cavalry officer. I had 30 men under my command. This was my uniform. As magistrate, I usually wear a toga, but today I may need to survive long enough to create the portal for you, so it seemed prudent. My men and I were at the Emporium in Rome as honor guard for a visiting dignitary arriving upriver by barge. Now the port is usually bustling, but just as our guests arrived, waves of people began running toward the river from streets and alleyways in every direction. They were trying to escape a terrible fire. Unfortunately, the crowd sent my horse into a panic, and I remember it losing its footing by the water's edge. The next thing I knew, I was waking up on a riverbank not far from here in the company of some stranger. I went looking for my horse and discovered that lonely temple. You can probably figure out the rest. I was elected 7 months ago, uncontested because of my command experience. Since then, there's been growing agitation for another election. They're supposed to be annual, but I agreed to hold it sooner, hoping it would placate my constituents. Unfortunately, it just seems to have emboldened certain elements instead. Very well. If I did, I'd have led these people out of here already. I've had plenty of time to think about it. Let me see if I can sum up my thoughts. I've always considered my guiding star to be the well-being of the Roman people. Our survival and prosperity have always hinged upon honoring the peace of the gods, the sacred accord between the gods and the people of Rome. Give the gods what they want and we all prosper. Dishonor them and we all die. It's as simple as that. The real enemy in this place is not the golden rule, but human failings. The temptation to slide into degeneracy, greed, and hubris. I trust that answers your question. Thank you. I'll be waiting here for news.
Ugh, I wish Horatius would stop letting barbarians in here. What do you want? I'm Sentia, eldest daughter of the magistrate. But you'd know that if you'd been invited in here and introduced properly. What are you doing in here? And why are you dressed like that? Really? I'd never have noticed, what with your flawless accent, appropriate attire, and impressive mastery of our customs. Now, remind me, why are we having this conversation? Ugh, what is it with you people? You heard the rumor that my little sister escaped and figure I must know a way out too. Is that it? Well, that's just a stupid rumor. We have no idea what happened to Scintilla. I wish you mouth breathers would just leave me alone. I don't know. Can you? Can you tell me how a person could have disappeared from a city with no exits and no crime? Was she snatched away by the harpies? You really aren't from here, are you? All Roman women are named after their fathers. I think it's their way of branding us, like cattle to be sold at market. His family name is Sentius, so I'm Sentia because I'm the eldest. And my little sister is formerly Sentia Minor, but she is affectionately known as Scintilla. It was 3 weeks ago. We ate our evening meal together, and I remember she seemed happy. In love. We went into our rooms, I went to sleep, and when I woke up, she was gone. That's it. I think so, yes. But she was very careful about keeping his identity a secret, even from me. Because our father had plans to marry her off, eventually, and even a rumor about her attachment to some mystery man might have ruined those plans. That doesn't surprise me. To him, it was like a prize cow wandering off from its paddock. He's upset, of course, but he says he's too busy with the election to help look for her, so he's letting Horatius do the heavy lifting. Some good that's done. I don't know, but it's been 3 weeks since she disappeared, and he hasn't come forward. That might speak to a guilty conscience. All I know is, whoever he is, he's still here in the city. I hope you're not insinuating I'm somehow pleased with her disappearance. Ugh, you're awful. Get out of my villa and never speak to me again.
Ah, you've returned. Do you have any news about your investigation? Thank you. I'll be waiting.
A new face. Ave, and may Vesta watch over you. I'm Equitia. To what do I owe the pleasure of this visit? Oh my. I take it people are quite direct where you're from. I suppose it's quite charming in its own way. Usually, however, you wouldn't simply march up to a Vestal priestess and without due formality or courtesy ask, "What is your story?" The proper approach would be to arrange an introduction through a mutual acquaintance in high office, by which time you would already know how to address me. And then you would find a way to satisfy your curiosity rather more indirectly. But to be honest, I've often thought what an unnecessarily formal way to communicate that is. So, let's do it your way. You just keep being yourself and ask whatever you like. It'll be a refreshing change. You know, I'm not entirely sure. But what about you? How did you end up here? Karen, you say? And nothing about that name seemed odd to you. Older. I see. I wonder if... No. I apologize. I don't mean to be cryptic. It's just that you've got me thinking. Have you spoken with any of the others about how they arrived here too? I really think you should. Go around and ask them what they remember and see if you notice any patterns. Good. Thank you. But please be careful. I just don't want to see what happened to Livia happen to you too. Up until a few weeks ago, she was a perfectly productive member of our little community, darning clothes and cutting hair. She was always so chatty, always seeking out newcomers and asking them where they were from and how they wound up here. And then, about a month ago, she suddenly changed. She withdrew, stopped working and became despondent, started muttering to herself. Galerius and I visited her to see how we could help, but she just looked at us with this haunted stare, called us bloodless shadows, and told us we were ignorant of some pattern. Look, it could be unrelated. Perhaps she simply fell ill. Or, as Galerius suggested, the weight of the golden rule was too much for her. But there is a small chance that she learned something, saw a pattern nobody else saw, and that it broke her. I just don't want to see that happen to you. So be careful, will you? You have? Then what is it? Yes, I understand many of our friends were carried here by a river current. What else? There are definitely some common threads there. But I think we'll need at least a few to ensure we're not just seeing coincidences. Keep asking people how they wound up here. I don't want us to rush to any conclusions yet. Livia's fate weighs heavily on my mind, and dictates we should be sure. Yes, you should ask the others first. I don't, I'm afraid. It seems to me we're exiled here until the gods judge us, one way or another. I'm quite sure it's the work of the gods, which is strange because they've never been particularly concerned with our misdeeds, as long as we've kept the peace of the gods. We ask for blessings, for good health, bountiful harvest, military victory, and in return, we offer praise, wine, incense, or animals. But here, it seems they require much more of us. I find myself reminded of an especially pertinent tale from our great poet Ovid in his epic Metamorphoses. Would you like to hear it? It is rather long. Wonderful. It goes like this. Baucis and Philemon were an old married couple living a humble life in a small town. One night, the town gets a visit from a couple of vagrants. They go from door to door, asking for a place to stay the night. Of course, being vagrants, they're turned away sharply from house after house, 1,000 in all, until finally they come to the little cottage where Baucis and Philemon live. Now, the kind old couple had very little to offer, but nevertheless, they invite these strangers into their house and offer them food, wine, and a place to stay. Immediately, the guests make themselves at home. They begin gulping down the old couple's wine, so much so that Baucis, the old lady, begins to worry they're going to run out. And then she notices something strange. Her wine pitcher keeps refilling itself, as if by magic. Realizing only a select few possess such powers, says to her husband, Philemon, "I think these men are gods in disguise." Immediately, the couple begins apologizing for offering such coarse wine, and the vagrants metamorphosize and reveal themselves to be Jupiter, the king of the gods, and Mercury, the trickster god. They confide they didn't mind the meager offerings. They were just pleased that someone in the town offered them hospitality. Then Jupiter says to them, "You have passed our test, but everyone else in this city failed, so we are going to destroy this place and everyone in it, except you, who we will grant a wish." So old Baucis and Philemon escape up into the mountains safely, and they receive their wish, which is for eternity together. Meanwhile, Jupiter carries through with his threat and wipes that city off the map. Some say the moral of that story is that we must all honor the sacred rituals of guest friendship, the reciprocal obligations owed between hosts and guests. But I like to think it's that we should always show compassion for those less fortunate than ourselves. A cynic philosopher might take that view, but it's not entirely invalid, I suppose. It must be completed by dusk, just the same as any other official business. It'll be between Sentius, the incumbent, and Malleolus, the challenger. Why do you ask? All of the male citizens who are willing and able to attend, unless they're running, of course. Well, you're not a citizen yet, so no, I'm afraid not. But if it's any consolation, there are other ways to influence the outcome of an election. By using whatever gifts the gods gave you. Nothing untoward, of course. I'm responsible for announcing it and making sure the procedures are followed. You can, assuming they're eligible and willing to accept the nomination. As I said, I'm planning to hold it before dusk, but I suppose I could hold it sooner, if there's a good reason. Yes. I have overheard some rather unpleasant arguments. The last thing we need here is additional conflict. Very well. I'll get things started right away. Citizens, it is time. Let us meet to elect our magistrate.
Hello?
Citizens, we have a quorate body of voters gathered here to elect the city's magistrate. The candidates are Sextus Sentius Imperiosus and Marcus Malleolus Gurges. As agreed, we shall dispense with ballots and candidates will abstain from voting. Let's make this quick. As I say your name, call your vote. I'll start with you, Horatius.
Sentius, of course.
Georgius.
Malleolus.
Dacius.
Malleolus.
Galerius.
I abstain. I'm just here to observe.
Virgil.
Malleolus.
Rufius.
Malleolus.
And finally, Domitius.
Malleolus. Who else?
Citizens, you have made your decision. Your new magistrate is Marcus Malleolus Gurges.
Hail, Magistrate Malleolus. I said, hail, Magistrate Malleolus. That's more like it.
Thank you. Thank you. I am delighted and deeply honored to have been elected your magistrate. And now, I make this solemn promise to you, good citizens. Under my leadership, you will finally enjoy the freedom you deserve. No more shall you walk on eggshells, fearing simply to live and breathe, because the tyrant Sentius told you it was forbidden. For my first act as magistrate, I hereby announce a day of celebration to mark the end of an era. The myth of the Golden Rule is no more.
The Golden Rule is real, you idiot.
For his attempt to deceive us all, Sentius is hereby found guilty of treason against the Empire.
What? I have committed no crimes. This is madness.
His sentence: to fight for his life in gladiatorial combat against Domitius, here and now for your entertainment.
You have no idea what you're doing. You're going to get us all killed.
Wait, I exercise my right as a Vestal priestess to pardon him. I will not allow you to do this.
You're showing your true colors now, priestess. Your corruption sickens me. Domitius, ignore her. Proceed.
This is insanity. You'll doom us all.
Lies! It is time the Golden Rule was exposed for what it is. A children's fable, exploited by a treacherous leader to instill fear in all of us.
This is why he's in his gladiator gear. They've been planning this all along.
Shut up, all of you. The magistrate has spoken. I'm going to enjoy killing you, old man.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Sup? All right then. I'll get...
Salve, friend. Salve, friend. Welcome to life under the That's That's good. And if you're not on edge, you've not been paying attention. But on the bright side, once you've been here a few months, it's slightly less terrifying anyway. We've all been where you are now. I remember when I first arrived. I used to lay awake at night contemplating the big questions. Why am I here? Is there a way out? What is the Golden Rule, and who or what is responsible for it? I still don't have any of the answers, I'm afraid. I don't think anybody does. But I'm happy to share with you what I've learned. All right, well...
I can't believe this is how it ends.
Oh no. 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 Ulpius, what are you doing? Get back.
That's the idea.
What?
Why do you think?
I know. Please.
I'm sorry, but
Please, help him. Thank you.
You know about that? How is that possible? I mean, I've never mentioned it to anyone. Well, if you say so. You don't understand. I don't want to hurt anyone. I just want it all to be over. It's too late for that. Yulia and I made a pact, and she's already swallowed hemlock this morning. If I backed out now, I'd be betraying her. I can't do that. No. Time's up. I am out. Wherever you are, Scintilla, my love. I'm sorry.
Ulpius, no! I'll have to let... And I...
On your best behavior, I trust? What is it, citizen? I'm a legionary of the 1st Italica, but there's not a lot of fighting down here. So the magistrate has assigned me other duties. I act as the magistrate's right-hand man, keeping an eye on his daughter, I should say, and the others, and making sure they're all behaving. I also keep a register of new arrivals. I'm from Liguria, up north originally. I was doing alright for myself, 12 years into my service. Had a nice girl lined up for when it was all over. Not anymore. She's probably figured I'm long gone and moved on by now. I try not to think about it. My commander sent me to deliver a message to Rome. While I was there, I thought I'd do something nice for my girl and pick up a little pendant from a silversmith. That's when the crowd started flooding through the streets, shouting fire. People were screaming, trampling each other. Then some Genetricum fugitor tried to take advantage of the chaos and pinch my pendant. And I remember chasing him through the crowds, down towards the river. And then, nothing. Blacked out and woke up near here. No idea how I ended up floating so far downriver. But I'm fortunate to be alive, I suppose. Ah, don't be. As Seneca the Younger said, difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. That said, Scintilla's disappearance has been more difficult than I'd care to admit. He's one of the better commanders I've ever had, that's for sure. Good stoic. Lives by Seneca's words. Treat your inferior as you would wish your superior to treat you. Can't ask for much more than that. I went around asking the same questions when I first arrived. Never did find a way out. But I learned how to accept my situation. To bear trials with a calm mind robs misfortune of its strength and burden. That's from Seneca the Younger, if you're interested. I don't see why not. Just make sure I get it back by tomorrow. I'm not sure why you said it like that, but whatever. Well, as I always say, it's kind of like a divine version of the practice of decimation in the Legion. By threatening to execute 1 in 10 men, the idea is to ensure order and discipline among everyone. And it works. If you knew you could be executed because your brother-in-arms is planning a mutiny, well, you'd bloody well watch him like 100-eyed Argus, wouldn't you? Because your only chance of saving yourself is to stop bad things before they happen. Makes us all responsible for keeping each other in check. It's brutal, of course, but effective. The Legion wouldn't be the most formidable force in the world without it. A war crime? Isn't that a contradiction in terms? As Cicero said, in times of war the law falls silent. Your assault wouldn't last a week in the Legion. What's done is done. I was forced to execute my brothers in arms, and those memories will always visit me in my sleep. But life is harsh, and I've come to accept my lot. As with the Golden Rule, I don't have any control over it, so railing against it would be like trying to stop the seasons or the tides. As Seneca the Younger wrote, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future, not to amuse ourselves with either hopes or fears, but to rest satisfied with what we have, which is sufficient. For he that is so wants nothing. If you like. Not that it's any of your business, but my loyalty is and always will be with Sentius. Unfortunately, I don't think my vote is going to make any difference today. See, Domitius has been going around town, shoring up votes for Malleolus with lies, bribery and intimidation. The man's a savage, but he's a gladiator, so people fear and respect him more than they should. Sentius knows about it, of course, but he doesn't have the same rat cunning as Malleolus. This place will be different with that sleaze at the helm. But I try not to worry about things I can't change. I appreciate the thought, but you're new here, and I just can't see how you could make an impact in the time between now and the election this afternoon. In any case, if you're interested in the election, go and have a chat with Aqueducts, the Vestal Priestess. She'll be overseeing proceedings. All right?
Isn't the great temple majestic?
Ah, a new face. Salve, and welcome to our little community. My name's impossible to pronounce for most people, so you can just call me Virgil. Well, I'm an architect. Or at least I was back in Rome. That's probably too grandiose a term to describe what I do here. Help out with repairs and try to stop old buildings from collapsing on people. That kind of thing. But you probably don't want to hear about the ingenious architecture or mysterious history of this place. Oh, I'm glad you asked. Some of these shrines were constructed hundreds of years ago, which means Romans have been arriving here for at least that long. But there's one thing that puzzles me. The oldest shrine in this avenue isn't Roman at all. It's Greek. I'm not sure. It could mean that the Romans who first started building here were just copying Greek architecture, which they do all the time. Or it could mean that there were Greeks living and worshipping here before the Romans arrived. Which begs the interesting question, who really built this place? And could it be far older than any of us imagine? If only there was a way we could talk to the people who came here before us. The stories they could tell. Gladly. Personally, my favorite thing about this place is the aqueducts. Those series of adjoining arches. They're an ingenious feat of Roman engineering with a very practical purpose. They take fresh water coming from outside the city and distribute it all across the chasm. It's funneled below the palace and into a cistern beneath the great temple. Some of it flows down into another cistern beneath the villas, and the rest is funneled to the shrine of Proserpina, where it fills the lake and allows us to fish and farm. Hey, not so loud. Just talking about that could anger the gods for all we know. I'm not saying it's impossible, but you'd have to find a way inside somehow. Just, please, try to be a bit more discreet about it. You mean the Great Temple? This one's a bit of a mystery. Given the way it's positioned so prominently, looking down on us, it's clear that whoever built it felt it was the most important temple in the city. Unfortunately, someone else went out of their way to keep its purpose a mystery. You see, usually a temple is dedicated to a particular god, like Proserpina or Diana or Apollo. Usually, that god is obvious. But in this case, it's unknown. There's an obelisk out the front, which probably used to bear the name of this unknown god. But it appears some barbarian defaced it. And of course we can't get inside because it's locked up tighter than the Temple of Saturn in Rome. And that contains the treasury. So we're all left wondering, which god is that temple dedicated to? And could it be the one responsible for the Golden Rule? Unless somebody figures out a way inside, I suppose we'll never know. Of course. You wouldn't believe how often the new ones ask that question. But I'd tell you the same thing I tell everyone else. There are much worse places to live out your days. You might have a few sleepless nights thinking about the Golden Rule, but once you get used to the fear, knowing that a single slip-up could cost you everything, it's not too bad. Nothing new to me, anyway. Oh, I just mean I grew up in the Batavi tribe, far to the north in Novio Magus, and learned to expect a bit of hostility. They weren't nearly as tolerant as the Romans. Some people say it's divine, the work of a god, but I'm not so sure. It just seems so flawed to me. Like it's distinctly human. I mean, once you've been here long enough, you'll notice people doing things that just seem so wrong to you. But this so-called god doesn't seem to care, which means one of two things. Either you don't know the difference between right and wrong, or this unknown god doesn't. And I'm pretty sure I know the difference. Do you? Good. Then I hope you'll agree that there are only two ways of dealing with unfair rulers. The first is to leave. The second is to remove the ruler from power. And it seems leaving may not be an option. Good question. It's best if I say no more, but I hope you'll give it some thought. Look, I haven't done anything wrong, if that's what you're thinking. Somebody just has a problem with my preference for male company. And when you grow up in the north, as I did, in the city of Noviomagos, you expect a bit of hostility. The Batavi are not known for their tolerance. I saw enough friends killed or driven away to know the cost of not keeping your personal affairs to yourself. So I hid who I was for, what was it, nearly 10 years? Watching what I said and where I looked. But that kind of fear eats away at you slowly, until living isn't any better than the thing you were afraid of. Needless to say, since I'm now living underground, halfway across the known world, with an assumed name, my openness didn't go down well among the enlightened folk of the Batavi. Nice of you to say, but not necessary. In any case, the Romans are far more accepting, and among them, I get to be who I am. Or at least, I thought that was the case. It seems I was wrong. It's not just graffiti. I have quite the collection of handwritten notes too. The strange thing is, I keep my personal affairs to myself. I've never really been interested in any of the men here. Not my type. So I'm not sure what I could have done to upset this person. If I had to guess, I'd say it's probably one of those cultists. Strange bunch. They insist there's only one god, and that he considers my nature a sin. Can you believe that? If there are any of them here, they won't admit it. Not since they supposedly burnt down half of Rome last year and went into hiding. All I know is, if these threats keep escalating, eventually my secret admirer is going to cross a line and break the golden rule. What? Really? I didn't expect that. But thanks. It's always a pleasure to meet someone so selfless. I'm glad you arrived when you did. I'd start by figuring out who the cultists are. Or maybe ask around among the merchants here. Someone who lives or works in the forum must have seen something. But if you find them, please don't hurt or humiliate them. I suspect they're just confused. Well, Malleolus is talking about loosening some of the restrictions in this place. And while it's all a bit vague, at least he has a vision. My vote isn't for sale, if that's what you're asking. Nice to talk to you.
Help! A man arrived. You have. Are you serious? Are you going to? Thank you. I have to hide. Find. What? All right. Fine. Did you stop him? What are you...
Wonder how much one of these statues is worth.
Stop right there. I'm... Thank you. For your service to the Empire, I'll let you live for now, but you'd best make sure our paths don't cross again.
On your best behavior, I trust?
A new face. Arve. Interesting. I'm not sure why you're telling me. Oh, keep asking people how they wound up. Livia's fate weighs heavily on my mind. Come back to me.
Oh, the murder.
Thank you. Domitius doesn't usually let anyone in here without a hefty tribute, so you must have been desperate to see me. Well, what do you want? Are you insane? You barge into my villa uninvited and then make outrageous demands? Why would I withdraw from an election I'm bound to win? Don't talk nonsense. There's no such thing as the golden rule. How could you possibly know that? Nonsense! This is nonsense! I don't know how you know about my plans, but I'm absolutely sure Sentius is involved somehow. And now, I'm going to enjoy watching Domitius kill him even more. Now, get out of here! You outstayed your very limited welcome. You fool.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Salvage. Oh, sounds serious. Yulia? Oh no. All right, let me see. I'll go, but once...
Salve, welcome. I still...
I can't believe this is how it ends.
Oh no. No. No, 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 no.
That's the... What? I'm...
Help him. Thank...
Let me guess. You know about that? Well, you don't... It's too... If I backed out... Oh, really? That changes things a little. But we're still in debt bondage to that monster. Unless you happen to have 2,000 denarii to pay off both of our debts. Yulia and I are in debt bondage to Malleolus. We might as well be slaves. And that's how much it will take to buy our freedom back. Oh, so it's my fault. I am out. Wherever you are, Scintilla, my love, I'm sorry.
Ulpius, no! I'll have to let everyone know.
Thank you. Thank you. I am delighted and...
Did you just leap into my villa from the balcony 100 feet above? That was... well... My name is Marcus Malleolus Gurgis. You seem to have confused me with someone else. You mean my heterochromia? I am guilty of nothing more than having different colored eyes. And I'm hardly the only person with the condition. Alexander the Great had it too, as it happens. I like to think it is simply the way the gods have chosen to mark a natural-born ruler. Nothing more. Well, I am not suffering from any delusions, as today's election will firmly establish. Unlikely, because it simply isn't true. Now, unlikely, through the door.
Thank you. Thank you. I am delighted and deeply honored to have been...
Oi! How did you get in there, you cheeky little stirkus? What now? Whatever. Hey, Horatius. How's it feel knowing your man's doomed to lose the election today?
If you're trying to goad me into an argument, it won't work. I'm a stoic, remember?
If the old man couldn't even keep his own daughter safe, how can anyone trust him to keep us safe, eh?
Name's Rufius. Better watch your step. Can't talk long, got to stay sharp, but family's from Seleucia on Tigris, Babylon province. But I've been roaming a long time now. Even joined the legions, the 6th, the one they call Ironclads. Same way as everyone else. Because we're all in grave danger. Is it not obvious? Magistrate made me toss it in the chasm. Stupid. Going to have to improvise now. If you were dealing with what I am, you wouldn't be either. Nobody is supposed to know about that. Did Lucretia tell you? Gah. Look, I haven't been at my best lately. All my joints ache constantly, and the pain. It has a way of messing with your head. I get stirred up by things that shouldn't bother me, and then there's the statues, and my doubts about my faith. And I just want to scream. You want to help me? Do what Lucretia hasn't been able to do. And find me something to make the pain go away. Until then, get out of my face.
Salve again, friend. I went... How is it possible that you've Oh, come on. I just did as you asked. The least you can do is level with me. I'll keep it between us. I promise. That's a shame. Now everybody's gonna think I'm some kind of oracle for knowing the future before it happens, and I have no way of explaining it. Hey, maybe the patricians will start treating me with a bit more respect. But then again, probably not. All right, I'll leave you to it, friend.
Well, isn't that an impressive trinket? You stay away from my money.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
God have mercy!
You must.
Salve. Oh, sounds serious. Yulia. All right, let me see. I'll go.
Ah, you're here. I'm so glad you decided to visit. I'm Aurelia, and I hope I'm not being too forward, but the moment I laid eyes on you, I was intrigued. You're not like any Roman man I've ever seen. You seem so refined, so civilized.
You, Tantalus,
Oh,
cannot
I
catch
see.
the drops of
You prefer the company of
and
men.
the tree you grasp.
Maybe you should go and make
eludes
friends
you.
with Virgil instead. I take back what I said. Suddenly, I don't find you so intriguing anymore. Let's just forget that ever happened, so we can at least do business. So, what brings you to my tavern? Ugh, let it go. Nothing's going to happen between us. You know, normally I'd expect you to buy me a drink before asking if I want to get out of here. I guess that went right over your head. Never mind. As a matter of fact, I do know a way out. I'm happy to tell you all about it, but this is valuable information we're talking about, and I don't just give it out like some cheap oracle. So, how badly do you want it? Is it worth, say, 1,000 denarii to you? Ha! It's hardly my fault if people misunderstand the terms of a deal. I mean, it does say, let the buyer beware, right outside my tavern. I just try not to think about it. Drink helps with that. As the saying goes, to drink is human, so we drink. Certainly, for 10 denarii. Have you met Livia? She used to do my hair, until one day she just snapped. This place has that effect on people. Now, she just stands around, caked in filth, muttering nonsense to herself. It's a real shame. Now I have to do my own hair. I hear that if Malleolus is elected, he's gonna throw a small festival to celebrate, with entertainment and everything. Can't wait to find out what it is. There used to be a midwife here, Naevia, but this place drove her mad as a Maenad. Said she could hear the statues whispering to her. Can you imagine? Fortunately for us, she locked herself in the palace weeks ago and hasn't been seen since. Good riddance, I say. Scintilla, the magistrate's youngest daughter, went missing a few weeks ago, right out from under Daddy's nose. How can we trust him to govern a city if he can't even protect his own daughter? I heard Dacius has been offering a lot of money for a bow. Of course, Sentius banned all weapons in the city, so I can't help but wonder what he's up to. Have you seen the way Rufius walks around staring at all the statues? He says he's afraid they're going to spring to life. But then, why does he have a collection of them in his room? Whatever you like. All right.
You, Tantalus, just as the ocean accepts the rivers of all the world, so this place accepts all the souls. But it does not notice the crowds that come. The bloodless shadows wander without flesh or bone. Some crowd the forum, some the house of the ruler of the depths. Others follow their trades, imitating their previous lives. They never do. There is only a downward path, gloomy with fatal yew trees. It leads through dumb silence to the infernal regions. Help me? You cannot help me. I have seen things. A pattern, a terrible pattern. It is better for you if you remain ignorant. Pandora's box must stay closed. I'll say no more. The bloodless shadows. This is their punishment. You think you wish to know, but you do not. It is better for you if you remain ignorant. Pandora's box must stay closed. I'll say no more. The newly arrived are ignorant of the road before them. Before Cerberus lifts his triple head and lets out his threefold braying.
Livia, would you stop muttering like Medea over a cauldron? You'll scare away my customers.
They follow their trades.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Salva. Oh. Yulian. All right. I'll go.
Malve. All right.
I can't believe this is how it ends.
Oh no. No. No, 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 no. Ulpius, what are you doing? Get back from there. If you lose your balance, you'll fall.
That's the idea.
What? Why? Why would you want that?
Why do you think I'm stuck for the rest of my life working for a man who treats me like an animal?
I know things are hard for you right now. They're hard for all of us. We're all in this together, Ulpius. Please, please just think this through. If you do this, it could be the sin that seals all of our fates. Is that what you want?
I'm sorry, but I just don't care anymore.
Please, Ulpius. Help him. If he goes through with it, it could be the end for us all. But I don't know what to do. I've never had to deal with this sort of thing. Please, you need to talk to him. Thank you. And please.
You... no... Well, you don't... It's too... If I... Oh, but we're still in debt bondage to that monster. Unless you happen to have 2,000 denarii to pay off both of our debts. Really? Wait. So, I guess you'd want me to work for you then. You'd do that for us? A couple of complete strangers. It seems today we are both blessed. This did not turn out how I thought. Thank you, friend. I never thought people like you existed. Thank you. I'll go and pay off our debts immediately. I just wish there was some way I could repay you. But I have nothing but the tunic on my back. I'll go and take care of things with Malleolus and tell Yulia the good news. Thanks again, friend. I'll never forget what you did for us.
Welcome.
Yulia! I'm so glad you didn't go through with it.
It wasn't for lack of trying. And now Malleolus is going to... Wait. Why do you look so happy?
We're free. Malleolus just released us and we never have to set foot in that villa again.
What? How?
The newcomer arranged it somehow.
Really? That's... incredible. Oh, what a relief. I don't know what to say.
You don't need to say anything. Just rest up, get your strength back, and we'll celebrate properly when you're ready.
I will. Thank you, Ulpius. I will.
Shalom.
Welcome.
Scintilla and I were in love. And then, 22 days ago, she went missing. All right. One night a few months ago, when I was cleaning Malleolus's villa, I heard a young woman singing. It was the most beautiful thing I had ever heard. I wasn't allowed out, so once everyone else was asleep, I climbed up the inside of the villa and onto the roof, just to see where that sound was coming from. And that's when I saw her. Standing in the garden of the magistrate's villa, I just sat there on the roof, listening to her with my chin on my knees. And for the first time in a long time, I felt hopeful. And then she looked up and saw me, and she smiled. I knew at that moment the fates had brought me to her, and from the moment she asked my name with this warmth and curiosity, I knew I'd have done anything for her. And so for weeks on end, each night I'd climb out of the villa and into her father's garden. We'd hold hands and talk about all the things we'd do once we got out of here. Like having our own vineyard. And then one morning I woke up and everyone was out searching for her. They said she'd vanished in the night. All I could do was keep my head down and try to hide how beside myself I was. All I know is she loved me. And if she had known a way out, she would have told me. She'd never have taken her own life. And there's no way anybody could have killed her under the Golden Rule. I can't prove it, but I just know she's still alive somehow. Even now, it's as if I can hear her voice in my head, crying out to me. That can only mean one thing. Somebody abducted her. I have no idea how, or who would want to do something like that to such a sweet, lovely girl. But what else could have happened? My guess? Malleolus had something to do with it. He is without doubt the most evil man I have ever known. I have no idea where he'd be keeping her, but there is one room in his villa, upstairs, which is always locked. I've never seen the inside of it, and I haven't been able to steal a key without breaking the Golden Rule. But I have a feeling that if you could get in there somehow, it would shed light on a great many things. Let me know what you discover.
A fellow traveler from a faraway. Greetings. I'm Georgius. It gladdens me to see another foreigner in our midst. We must stick together, you and I. And I must say, my sartorial friend, your clothing is most extraordinary. Leather boots in place of sandals, trousers with precise stitching, and such a curious design. I have traveled distant trade routes from the markets of Damascus to the farms of India, and never have I seen anyone dressed quite like you. Tell me, I must know, from which exotic part of the world do you hail? Is this a riddle, or perhaps you mean to say you feel like you are ahead of your time? I feel the same way. Another reason for us to stick together. We will have much time here to get to know one another. But for now, do you require assistance? I know you do not require clothing, so information perhaps? My story? How kind of you to ask. I am a tailor and I run the humble shop in the forum. You mean to say, with all the turmoil and terror of the Golden Rule, and so few customers, why bother setting shop at all? I'll tell you, it is precisely because of the Golden Rule that I wish to remind my friends of the importance of looking one's best. I say, the more of our customs we preserve down here, the more we can preserve a semblance of normality, the better our chances of keeping our heads. Don't you agree? Well, if that doesn't persuade you, think of it this way. If we all end up as golden statues for future generations to marvel at, I don't know about you, but I would like to look my best. A good question. A very good question indeed. And I would be happy to tell you if only I could remember it clearly myself. I remember I had just been to Rome to sell an extraordinary selection of wares, and drowning in coin, I decided to celebrate my success. I rented a prestigious villa by the Tiber, invited over a few select friends, and we began making our way through some of the most exquisite wine money could buy. Quite a lot of it, in fact. Now, I have had visions and awoken in strange places before, I have even found myself naked in the desert sands more than once, but none of that compares to this. This time, I remember people screaming, then falling into a void as empty as time before creation, gasping for air, and then nothing. When I regained my faculties, I was lying naked by the banks of the Tiber, gods know how many miles from my villa. Indeed. I'm lucky I was carrying a little extra weight. I believe it kept me afloat. In any case, it seems I'd been rescued and resuscitated by a benevolent stranger. I went to find firewood for his campfire, stumbled across a cave, and discovered that trapdoor temple. And here I am. Anything you like. Shh! Not so loud! What are you playing at? Have you not been told about the last attempt? Oh, then I suppose this duty falls to me. Ah, it is a long story. Of course, the first question any of us asks when we first arrive is, how do I escape? It is only natural after all. And scaling the chasm wall is out of the question, for it is simply too steep and too far. But as they say, if the wind fails, use the oars. And here the second option is to leave the way we came in, through the shaft above the bathhouse. See, the shaft is quite high, but if one gathered up enough wood, one could make a series of ladders and climb one's way out. I admire your enthusiasm, my friend, but please allow me to explain why this is inadvisable. There was an attempt, made by resourceful fellows who lived here some years ago. They even decided to keep records of their escape attempt for posterity. Unfortunately, as soon as they began to carry the first ladder down the hallway, they heard a godlike voice shake the entire city, and that, tragically, is where their tale ends. So it seems that to merely attempt escape is to invite the wrath of whichever god oversees this place, and so I say it is best to not even discuss it aloud. Ah, yes. The many shall suffer for the sins of the one. As a Greek, this is nothing new to me. It is how our gods operate. Have you not heard the tale of the god Hades? He was the first to learn this dreadful lesson when he abducted Persephone and imprisoned her in the underworld. When Demeter, the mother of Persephone, learned of this, she did not punish Hades, the guilty one. Instead, she changed the climate of Earth so that it became hot and dry. Nothing grew. The grain turned to empty husks and the rivers dried up. Innocent people died by the tens of thousands until at last the other gods were forced to act, lest they have no worshippers left. So yes, we know this rule. This has always been the case. The Golden Rule has merely brought it into focus. If we are to survive, I say we must each heed the simple wisdom of Thales of Miletus, first of the 7 sages of Greece, who said, "Avoid doing what you would blame others for doing." It does, doesn't it? But it is not enough for us to do this alone. For even if 99% of us adopt this principle, that will never be enough. Sadly, no matter how well we protect ourselves, the life's work of many good people can be undone in the blink of an eye by a single selfish act. Ah, the voice of experience. I am sorry for your loss, my friend. But on a lighter note, I will say one thing for the Golden Rule. For all their grim and haunting poses, these golden statues do make magnificent models for my clothing, do they not? That, my friend, is quite the dilemma. But after some reflection, I'm leaning toward voting for Malleolus. I do not enjoy the thought of another visit from Domitius if I voted the wrong way. Nothing comes to my mind, my friend. This is troubling, is it not? I'm afraid I have no idea. It is ridiculous, though. Virgil is a fine man. But my young friend Fabia confided in me that she saw someone leaving graffiti on his shop front last night. Perhaps you should ask her about it. I hope that our paths cross again soon, my friend.
you there? I'm sorry to trouble you, but I couldn't help but notice that fine bow you're carrying. No idea how you managed to get your hands on it, especially in the light of our dear old magistrate's ban, but I'm impressed. And before you ask, no, I wouldn't dream of trying to buy it from you. I have no use for a wooden bow myself. But I would like to propose a joint business venture of sorts. Tell me, do you have any idea how people here end up as golden statues? And here I was thinking I was the only one to figure it out. In any case, supposedly 1 or 2 of those arrows is enough to turn a full-grown man into gold. Now, of course, that is a travesty, a terrible, horrible waste of human life which has to be stopped. And yet, on the other hand, I can't help but think of a tale told by that Greek fella Aesop, the goose that laid the golden egg. With the ability to transmute organic matter into gold, one could create infinite wealth. Use your imagination. Golden animals, insects, trees and plants. The Midas touch without the drawbacks. We are talking riches beyond imagining. And even if we were to split all those riches between the 2 of us, half of infinite wealth is still infinite. Interested? Look, I might have skimmed over that one, but don't be so pedantic. Are you interested or not? Excellent. So the first question is, how do we get our hands on one of those golden bows? Now, I have a plan, but first, tell me, are you familiar with the story of the goddess Diana? Good. Then none of this should be a surprise to you. Diana is our goddess of the hunt, the moon, and the underworld, depending on who you ask. The one thing priests and poets agree on is that she carried with her a golden bow and a quiver of golden arrows. And it just so happens that there is a shrine of Diana in this very forum, with a prominent statue of the goddess herself. And would you like to guess what she's holding in her hand? Precisely. I can't tell you how many hours I've spent in that temple staring at it, trying to figure out how to retrieve it without breaking you-know-what. Oh, gods, no! If you tried that, we'd all be dead within moments, I'm sure. No, here's what I propose. You give your bow to me, I cover it in a thin layer of gold leaf, and we create a replica of a golden bow. Then you enter the shrine, extinguish the braziers, and under cover of darkness, swap out the fake for the original. It's not theft exactly, it's more of a trade. But make no mistake, this is a dangerous path, and there's no way of knowing where it will lead. But in my experience, all the best adventures begin with a risky first step. Now, you must have questions. Ask away. Because the gods would see you, of course, hence my proposal. I'm more of an ideas man, whereas you're obviously the more resourceful and heroic type. I have complete confidence in you. When Prometheus stole fire from the gods and became a hero to all mankind, do you think he was worried about the danger? So, are you in, partner? Wonderful. Now, if you'll hand over your bow, I can get started applying a layer of gold leaf. This is a quality weapon. Now, bear with me for a moment. And here we are, a gold leaf bow. Now I've gone and unlocked the Shrine of Diana for you, so as quick as you can, head on inside. It's just at the end of the street on the left. May the gods not watch over you. Is that you, partner? Do you have the bow? Wonderful. Just go ahead and slide it under the door for me and I'll unlock it for you. And yet you did. And now, here we are. Me out here, and you in there. Until you give me my bow. No, technically, I never said that. I said, if we were to split all those riches between the two of us, infinite wealth is still infinite. It's hardly my fault if you can't tell the difference between a hypothetical and a promise, now is it? Oh, I do love a good loophole. Not a very effective threat, is it? See, your first problem is, you're in there, and I'm out here. Your second problem is the golden rule. What are you gonna do? Kill us all? It's an empty threat. The bow, now. And don't even think about giving me the fake one. I'll recognise my own handiwork. I would reconsider my position quickly if I were you. I'm not sure if you noticed, but you're stuck in there with a hornet's nest, and they can be rather aggressive toward intruders. You know, some say it takes 27 hornet stings to kill a man, but I always wondered how anyone could have known that. Let's find out if they were right, shall we?
My beloved Galatea, my beloved Galatea, I write this so that one day, when we're finally together, you will understand what I've done and why I had to do it. The others will call me mad or a monster, but I don't care what they think. Everything I'm doing here, I'm doing for you. I'll start at the beginning. Soon after my arrival here, as I walked down a corridor lined with golden statues, I thought I heard a whisper behind me, a rasp of air, as if vocal cords of metal strained to say a word or two. I tried to dismiss the idea, tried to concentrate on my work as the city's medic, but that tortured whisper haunted me. Weeks later, in the hallway to the bathhouse, I heard it again and found myself drawn to the statue of a Roman woman wearing a stola. Her face was contorted with anguish and fear, and disturbingly, it was as if she was looking right at me. As I walked past her, I heard that strained whisper again, and turning back, I discovered that even though I had moved, she was still looking right into my soul. That was when it dawned on me. This was no statue. This was a woman trapped within that golden prison. Naturally, I told the others, but when I could not reproduce the results of my experiment, they would not believe me. But from that moment on, I knew the full horror of this place. Immobilized within these statues are living human beings. It was that day, my love, that my heart broke. You're not supposed to be here. My beloved Galatea, after I learned the terrible truth about the golden statues, I wandered the city as if in a nightmare. What must life be like for these poor souls, entombed in gold, but kept alive somehow? Trapped in their own personal Tartarus, consigned to eternal torment, too horrific for any sane mind to comprehend. I tried to offer them what small mercies I could. I began to talk to them, to keep them company. I'd imagine backstories for them, give them names, and tell them of the world, of the histories and stories I'd learned as a child. As the others became more concerned by my charity, I sought solitude from them, preferring the company of my tormented charges. Discovering a way into the abandoned palace, I began to spend my days walking its halls and sharing with its occupants ancient tales, my mind turning to those of Apollo and Daphne, Perseus and Medusa, and Pygmalion and Galatea. Pygmalion, the sculptor who fell in love with a beautiful statue, and who, praying to Aphrodite for aid, discovered that his beloved Galatea had come to life. It was then that I heard you whisper to me, Galatea. Forgive me. I know that is not your real name, just one I have borrowed from a story. But when I turned to look at you, I saw the most exquisitely beautiful woman I've ever known. Your face, forever frozen in a look of haunting sadness. Our meeting gave me new purpose, to free you from your golden prison, so that I might one day hear you speak, not just whisper your true name to me. So I gathered tools for the long and difficult task ahead, barred the doors to this place, and set to work.
Help us. You.
The cold.
Make it stop. Thank you.
The cold.
beloved Galatea. My attempts at freeing my beloved Galatea. My attempts at freeing these souls from their golden prisons have not been going to plan. My first charge was a Greek woman who I called Iodame after the Athenian turned to stone by Medusa. Drilling through the gold that encased her, I was vindicated by the discovery that beneath half an inch of gold, which is so rigid it must be some kind of alloy, was living flesh. Unfortunately, this golden alloy seems to have fused with her skin, so removing it exposed the sinew and muscle beneath, and appeared to cause her great pain. At first, I braced myself, expecting that inflicting such pain would break the golden rule, and yet, somehow, it did not. It seems whichever god is responsible for imprisoning these poor souls does not care about their suffering at all. They are forsaken. Undeterred, I pressed on, working late into the night, attempting to remove the golden layer that encased her as delicately as I could. Eventually, I was able to free most of her body, but when I released her from her restraints, her first act was to lunge for my throat, clawing at me with all her strength in those sharp metal talons. This was my thanks for trying to save her. Whatever possessed Iodame to attack, she was clearly not a suitable subject for my experiment, and I was forced to lock her inside an isolated wing of the palace and bar the door. As I continued working on others, I could hear her flailing and launching herself at the other side endlessly. Regrettably, my other experiments bore similar results, and after relocating a few times, most of the palace is now too dangerous to work in. Still, as much as my heart aches to know that you're suffering, I cannot risk attempting to ungild you yet. Not until I have perfected a method that will bring you back to me, whole in both mind and body, and ensuring your humanity is preserved. I promise you this. One day we will be together, even if I have to free every last statue in this god's forsaken place. And you must be the wretched snake who broke into my palace and disturbed my experiments. And, worst of all, look at what you made me do to her. This never would have happened if you just stayed away. You're going to pay for that. And you think I care about that? I don't care what happens to me, as long as you get what you deserve. Liar! I locked and barred the gate. I left a message warning you all to leave me alone. I just wanted to do my experiments in peace, for her. And now look at her. You made me turn the most beautiful woman I've ever seen into this. Look at her. She's in agony. All I wanted was to spend my last moments with her, to see her beautiful face, to hear her speak freely, instead of in those cryptic whispers. But as soon as I began my work, she stopped whispering to me. And now I discover she started whispering to you instead. What's so special about you? What do you mean, the same voice? Yes. I remember when they used to whisper to me. They did sound similar. I just thought it was because all voices sound the same when they whisper. But now that I think about it, they were all benevolent and seemed to share a common knowledge. But if these bodies are mere conduits for that one voice, then this body is nobody. And everything I've done here was... Wait, I see what you're doing. You're trying to steal her away from me. Were you planning to wait until I'd done all the hard work, then swoop in? Is that it? Liar! You tried to steal her away from me, and now look what you made me do. Give me one good reason why I shouldn't peel you too. What? What are you talking about? Wait. So you're saying you weren't coming for us? So I did all this. I ruined her. For nothing. What have I done? Oh gods, I feel sick. I can't bear the thought of her being like this. And in so much pain. It's the air coming into contact with her flesh. It's agonizing for them. But the only way to fix it will be to break the golden rule and let it run its course. At least that way she'd be golden again, and we'd be together. All it would take is one little cut. It's too late. There's nothing you can do. I have to do this. I'm sorry. What? How? Really? I'm not sure I believe you. But if you can undo this mess, I'll tell you what you need to know. But if you're lying to me, I'll break the golden rule and kill you and everyone else in this city. Understood? You did it. You took away her pain. I don't know what to say. Thank you, thank you. I swear I will never harm her again. I swear it. I'll stay here to keep her company. But these poor souls, what can be done for them? I've tried everything I can. I fear the only one capable of releasing them properly is whichever god doomed them in the first place. In any case, I must honor our bargain. The treatment for rheumatism is willow bark. I believe there's a pot of it already in the Shrine of Apollo. Now, please leave. The door here leads out onto the palace balcony. You should be able to make your way down from there. Go, and never return.
A golden bow, just like Apollo and Diana's. Feeling all right? You made it into the palace. I'm impressed. How is Neria? Willowback, I should have known. It was under my nose the whole time. That's very helpful. Thank you. If this works, it should settle Rufius down some. I have some right here. Could you do me a favor and give him some of this? He'll just need to swallow a pinch of it. I'm hoping it will avert disaster. Thank you. I'm Lucretia, and I'm going to be straight with you. I'm not a physician. This is Nevia's clinic. I've just been filling in ever since she disappeared. I'm tired and out of my depth and miserable all the time. But I'd rather take this on myself than let one of you lot mess it up. My husband and I moved to Rome from Caesarea. He embraced the Roman way more than I would have liked and turned into an awful philanderer. I would have divorced him and demanded the return of my dowry, but I knew he would sooner have me killed than give me my right. So I waited for the right time to take what was mine and disappear. And then the fires came. As he prepared to evacuate our villa, I gathered our most precious belongings, coins and gemstones, and the moment his back was turned, I ran. I could barely see for the smoke, and the streets were full of people trampling each other. I ran for the river, like everyone else, and leapt in. The next thing I remember, I was waking up on a riverbank, not far from here. It's all right. Say what you will about this place, at least my fornicating husband will never find me. And while there's no shortage of snakes here, at least with the golden rule, they have to try to be discreet about it. Oh, this shrine was in use as a clinic long before any of us arrived here. Kind of strange to set up a clinic in the temple of the god of disease. But the god who inflicts a curse is also the only god who can undo it. So I suppose praying to Apollo for healing kind of makes sense. Gladly. I'm Lucretia. Well, she used to run the clinic. She was a midwife, not a physician, but she was the closest thing we had down here. And she was good too, until she suddenly lost all interest in us. One day she told me she'd made some profound discovery about the golden statues. This changes everything, she kept saying. But I had no idea what she was talking about. The last time I saw her, the last time any of us saw her, she was muttering to the statues, like she could talk to them. And then she shut herself in the palace, barred the door from the inside, and nobody's seen her since. She's been gone so long now, we figure she's either dead or up to something so strange that she doesn't want anyone else to know about it. But I really wish I could reach her, because that's the only hope I have of solving a troubling problem, a real thorn in the paw situation. One of my patients is suffering from terrible rheumatism. His joints are inflamed and he's in constant pain. He's become so... You did? That...
Name's Rufius. Better watch your step. If I did, do you... I'll tell you this much. Then... I mean, all these people just bumble along like nothing's wrong. While we're one bad decision away from being wiped out. Like the last lot of people who lived here. Seems like I'm the only one ready for what's coming. Whatever that is. And when it hits, it's everyone for themselves. You've been warned. I don't know. But did you ever get the feeling some of these statues are watching us when we're not looking? Like they're waiting for something. I don't like it. Of course I am. Meliodas. Not sure I trust Sentius. No. What business is that of yours? Willow bark. And this will work? Oh, thank God. Finally, some relief. This is what I've been praying for. Maybe God hasn't abandoned me after all. Thank you. I've been in a lot of pain lately. The rheumatism, these cursed statues always watching, and the crisis of faith. It was too much. Started messing with my head. This is exactly what I needed to set it straight again. I owe you one. See you around.
Whatever's in that great temple up there on the bluff, I bet it's worth a fortune. Oh, hello there, partner. I'm glad you're here. I think there might have been some confusion about my little practical joke earlier. You see, my plan was to give you a little fright. You know, like two friends joking around at the Saturnalia, and then, surprise, I'd open the door. But when I opened it, you were gone. Partner, there's no need for threats. Yeah, well, I don't have to listen to this. Get lost. Capa merda!
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
The statues.